Welcome to Empowering the Working Mom podcast, the place where working moms find inspiration, support, and practical advice to thrive in their professional and personal lives while aligning it all with God. I'm your host, Latika, a fellow working mom on a mission to empower you to embrace your God-given strength and resilience of balancing work and life while leading you to align it all with God. Twice monthly, we'll delve into topics that matter to you, from time management, advancing your career, mental health, your relationship with God, and so much more. Get ready for insightful interviews with inspiring working moms, experts, and thought leaders who'll share their wisdom, their experiences, their prayers, and their Tabitha moments. Because together, we can break down barriers, defy stereotypes, and rewrite the narrative of being a working mom. So get ready for your empowering moment. Welcome to the Empowering Working Mom podcast. Hey, working mom. I hope you are doing well. I just want to say welcome to season 12 of the Empowering the Working Mom podcast. I am so happy that you are here. If this is your first time, thank you for joining us. And if you've been here before, thank you again for coming back. I'm excited because this season we're talking about something that we as working moms do not prioritize, and that is rest. Can't wait for us to get in this topic. But before we do, I want to ask you a favor. With this topic of rest, if there is a working mom that comes to your mind that could use some tips, some strategies on finding rest, please send her this episode. In fact, encourage her to subscribe because all season long we're going to be talking about rest and our guests are going to be sharing strategies on rest. And if you have any questions or if you want to learn more, please don't forget to go into the show notes because there we have more information, not only about this topic of rest, but what I do to support you as a working mom as you balance work and life and try to go towards your career vision, aligning it with God, and then also some of the activities and initiatives and events that we are doing for you. So be sure to check out the show notes. So let's get into this topic of rest. I want to ask you this question. When was the last time you took a moment to be still? As you think about it, has it been that long? So, we just came off the holidays. We had Thanksgiving, we had Christmas, and then we had New Year's. And then for some of us, there were added birthdays, anniversaries, and everything else just within the last 2 months. So we have one thing after the other, and you probably didn't have an opportunity to be still. Your mind was racing with gifts and meal prep, grocery shopping, cleaning the house, closing up projects, and this endless cycle of doing. But at the end of the day, who is the last person your busyness benefits? Can you guess? Well, it's not benefiting you. And as I was wrapping up last season's episode, I heard God so clearly say, rest. My people need rest. You need rest. As I was closing up the season and preparing for what we're going to talk about in season 12, I was hearing a lot of feedback from working moms, and they were saying how stressed and stretched they were. They had brain fog and they were losing their cools. They were losing their tempers quickly. They were indecisive because their energy levels were on empty. Their gas tank was on E, but they were expected to perform on full. But how could they operate on full when they never took the time to fill back up? Because we all have cars that are gas generated. You need gas. And if you are on E, you can't even start your car up. You need to get gas to start it. Well, the same applies to us. And when I looked up the definition of rest, the dictionary describes it as a means to cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. And the Cambridge Dictionary defines it as to stop doing a particular activity or to stop being active for a period of time in order to relax and to get back to your strength. So, in order for you to get back to your strength or get back your strength to refresh, you have to build yourself back up. And that means you have to rest. Now, in the last 5 seasons or so of Empowering the Working Mom podcast, I've asked our guests about their Tabitha moment. They often share how they went through an experience that forced them to stop and come to a place of stillness, restoration, healing, and peace. They had to literally stop what they were doing. Now, if you're not familiar, Tabitha is a woman in the Bible who is considered a disciple of Christ. She loved others in her city and she loved them by serving them. And she served her community by caring for others, which is a testament of God's love, right? And that describes many of us. But one day she fell sick and she died. Her death was premature, and for those in her community, it was shocking and unbelievable. Now, one scholar put it that Tabitha left behind shoes too big to be filled, and that's why her community sent for the Apostle Peter to resurrect her. Can you see yourself like Tabitha? Now, from Tabitha, we learned 2 things. Well, 3 things, actually. 1, she worked hard. 2, she needed restoration. And then 3, she needs her community to step up. Now, the Bible doesn't say if Tabitha was appreciated while living, but for many of us, we aren't appreciated for our work. We continue on without a single thank you, right? Well, the first need for rest is that we need to continue to work. We cannot continue to work with our hands to the bones without being seen, without being appreciated. We can't continue to carry on that way. And I know you've been carrying on that way for some time. But how long will you continue to give your everything to everyone else and never give anything to yourself? You can't survive that way, my sister. The second need for rest, Tabitha needed restoration, and so do you. You can't continue to survive putting everyone's priorities ahead of your own physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health. People will take advantage of you for the remainder of your days, remainder of your life, until you set limits or boundaries. And without boundaries, every day will look the same. You're giving and giving and giving until one day you have nothing left to give and you need a full circle to restore you. So here's the third need for rest. You need a community to restore you. God has placed licensed professionals to support you and your health. He's also given you the provision of health insurance that you must use. You're paying for it, right? So here's the things that you need. You need your primary care for overall health. You need your OB or OBGYN for women's health. You need a therapist to help you mentally, emotionally strategize life. You need a spiritual advisor for your spiritual health. This could be a pastor, this could be a bishop, this could be an elder, this could be a missionary, this could be a minister, this could be an evangelist. You need a spiritual advisor. We all do. You need a mentor and or coach for your career progression. And you need accountability partners to help you take everything and apply it to your life. You need a winning circle to support you. Now, Tabitha didn't have an entire winning circle, but those she did have called on the Apostle Peter, who performed a miracle through God to resurrect and restore her. That's what you need. You need this winning circle to restore you, and that means you must see them regularly. Your doctors, your therapists, your mentors, your coach, your spiritual advisors, you have to see them regularly. Oftentimes, you need to see your primary care more than once a year or once every 2 years. Oftentimes, you need to use the resources that are available in your health insurance for all of them. And don't forget that most jobs have an employee assistance program where you can get a lot of these resources for free. Telehealth doctor visits, therapist sessions for free. There's a lot of resources that you can use within your current health insurance. But you may be asking, and I get this a lot. Okay, Latika, this is great, but how do I rest? And I'm so glad that you asked that question. My prayer is that you don't have to experience a Tabitha moment. And if you have, that you can use these tips to help you guide your restoration. So here's some things that I've done to restore and refill myself up before giving to others. One, I wake up an hour before everyone to meditate on God's word and spend time with him. I hear from him and he guides me for the day. Two, I also work out for 45 minutes while my older two are getting ready for school. Three, before going into the office, into commuting into work, I take 2 to 3 minutes to pray to commit my day to God, to allow God to give me peace and center me for the day. I set a timer for social media and my phone, so I can't be on my phone for more than 3 hours a day. And this eliminates the need for scrolling and the constant comparison because my phone will shut off if I'm on it a minute over 3 hours. And that is possible. And I adjusted my work schedule to have 1 day per pay period to do what I want. So I don't even take my phone with me on these days. And a lot of the times on these days, I am having lunch with myself. I'm taking walks when the weather allows. I'm spending time with myself on those days. 6, I now take showers without music to stop my mind from being overly stimulated. What I'm finding is that when my mind is overly stimulated, I feel like I have to do. But when I'm at peace, when I'm in quiet, I don't have to do and I can just be. The 7th, I created a space in my home, which is my sanctuary, where I retreat to daily at the beginning of my day and at the end of my day. Now, I know that was a lot, but those are things that I have to do to restore myself. And I had to communicate with my family what I need. And not to mention, I also go on solo trips to hotel rooms for 24 hours or take walks around the lake when the weather permits. I do a lot by myself, right? You can do the same. It's a mindset shift. You have to change your mindset, but it's so worth it. You'll feel so much better at the end. And who is it going to benefit? You. And because you filled yourself back up, now you're able to overflow and give to everybody else. So what will you do to restore yourself so you can have rest and get back to work? Remember, you matter and your order of priority matters. Your order should be God, you, then your husband, then your children, then your home, and then everything else. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not selfish. It's not self-centered. It's restoration so that you don't have a Tabitha moment. So I encourage you today to think about your order of priority. Where are you and readjust. God is first, then you, then your husband, then your children, then your home, and then everything else. When you put your first fruit in God, He will take care of the rest. So I encourage you today, remember your priority. Remember your restoration is needed in order for you to fill yourself back up and not have a Tabitha moment. Until next time, take care. Remember that God is telling us all that we have to rest because in Him we will find peace and restoration.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Empowering the Working Mom podcast. As you reflect on the empowering moments, remember that you are not alone in this journey. It takes a whole village to be a working mom. Discover how big your village is by joining fellow working moms in our private Empowering Working Mom online community, where we continue this conversation and support each other every step of the way. Until next time, you got this because God has you.